Guardian Soul and affixes from original PSO2 can be stronger or even best in slot in New Genesis. I'd imagine after some time, there'll be better things to acquire in New Genesis. But this is one of the avenues that people playing PSO2 right now benefit from. So here's the deal. Units can have up to 8 slots, or abilities in them. However, in New Genesis, slots are determined by the level of the item. And in the beginning of the game, where we barely have 3-star stuff and low-level stuff, it doesn't reach up to 8 slots. And in the last closed beta test, gear went up to 3 slots, and I'm pretty sure we'll see 4-slot or 5-slot stuff after that. So basically, all the fixes basically all the fixes translate differently in terms of the stats they give, but some of the best affixes in old PSO2 give numerous bonuses. So the endgame affixes that people have been creating for old PSO2 look extremely beneficial and give a wide number of bonuses to start out with in NGS. This also goes with weapons. 2 big examples I can give are Lightweaver Crass, which is the current strongest weapon in PSO2. It can grant crit chance, and it's one of the only sources of crit in New Genesis. There's also Atlas, which provides the same benefit as old PSO2, which makes you survive a fatal blow with 1 HP. However, in old PSO2, it only works once per quest. In New Genesis, since there's a free roam kind of game instead of instant quest, they changed the potential to work every 5 minutes, so that's even better actually. And it's a great weapon. Basically, it's a great weapon to swap to when you know you're gonna die, or it's a nice emergency weapon to use when you're low on HP. Some other top tier weapons also have various benefits, so there's certainly a lot of things you can play with if you're coming from old PSO2. If I was new to PSO2 and looking into New Genesis, I would be pressed to play PSO2 right now to grab the best weapons and 8-slot Guardian Soul stuff, which happen to be the best in slot for old PSO2 and seems to be useful for New Genesis at least. I'd say it's a gamble if you really want to take NGS seriously and not play old PSO2 at all. I guess that's all I have written right now. I don't think Steel is best in slot. I'm pretty sure Crass is best in slot in New Genesis. I'm like 100% sure. And then I have this write-up about classes as well. I'm just going to read it off. Hunter seems to be the main class of choice for speedrunners. High counter damage, reliable PAs. I think when the game comes out, I'd imagine Volgraptor being free damage, involved with the multi-weapon system, would be really strong as well. Subclass Force seems to be the meta too. It's like Tekker and Force swap positions from old PSO2. As in like Tekker is main class and like subclass, or Force is like subclass. And this is due to like PP Convert being on the Force skill tree instead of on the Tekker skill tree, and it being usable as a subclass. In any case, Magic seemed to be like the least efficient for damage, but really strong for like status effects on enemies, which seemed to be more important than before. Charge time for techniques was 0.5 seconds, or like half a second, and in regular PSO2 it's naturally 1 second, so that was kind of interesting. NGS, the Photon Blasts are basically like compound Photon Arts. Yeah, the Photon Blast is basically CPA. It's based off the weapon you're equipped with. Detector has a melee-style gameplay, and melee gameplay is always optimized by trying to parry or counter everything, because counterattacks, after dodges or parries, are stronger than most of your other attacks, right? The wand has 2 PAs now, and also has counterattacks like the other melee weapons, making a solid melee weapon compared to before. Detector main class is also required for casting Shift into Band, and you cannot use Shift into Band as a subclass as well. So I think they're really pushing toward that Tekker main class thing. Ranger's utility and consistency still in. It can spread fire really well against mobs, and it's still an important factor in bossing with weak bullet application, as well as being able to further strengthen the effect of weak bullet on a single target. Rangers seem to have the most variety of attacks, which made it really fun to play, and I really liked it the most. Gunner is blessed with a ton of quality of life changes. It seemed like a consistent fighter across all ranges, and the big damage coming out of chain triggers, of course. The extra attacks, like Estral Finisher and the Assault Advance, seemed not balanced well. They seemed weak and not worth it to use, so I would like to see them change that. Chain seems to work with other weapons if you use the weapon combination system. There's a skill that makes your PA do more damage if you successfully Estral through an attack. So I think, optimally speaking, you want to status roll through something to get that damage buff, and then pop your chain trigger with it. Fighters seem to be really good as well, similar to Hunter. It's just like dodge, parry, counter gameplay. It seems like the melee classes don't have too many candidates to work with right now, So I think when we get more weapons available and get to mess around with the multi-class system, then the melee classes will really start to shine and be more fun.